Question number 3, James Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and reads, does he stand by all his statements?
The Right Honourable Prime
Mr.
Minister.
Speaker, and my answer reads yes.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Does he stand by his statement in the House yesterday that charities including Greenpeace International and Amnesty are named in the Panama Papers as beneficiaries of foreign trusts?
Mr.
The
Speaker,
Right Honourable Prime
I think
Minister.
if the member checks the Hansard, you'll see that I said in the database. And they are in the database. And Mr. Speaker, if you go and actually have a look at the, how this information is presented, you go to the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. There's a single website link. It says, I quote, offshore link database. And then it says, find out who's behind almost 320,000 offshore companies and trusts from the Panama Papers and the offshore links investigation. And then you type in Greenpeace and it comes back with beneficiary of the Exodus Trust.
Order.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, David Seymour.
Can the Prime Minister recall answering a question from the Green Party about the environment?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think in 2008, when I became Prime Minister, I got one. But since then, they've been, you know, a little off radar.
Order. Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When he made that statement yesterday, was he aware that those charities that he named were actually all found to have been victims of a scam where their names were used as a front by those seeking to use foreign trusts to avoid tax?
Order. Order. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But this is the point, isn't it? This is the point. That so many New Zealanders are being implicated, and that member has been at the forefront of sullying the names of New Zealanders because they're in the database. So when Deborah Peed's name's on TV last night, according to James Shaw, it's fine, but when it's his mate, the Greenpeace, it's not fine. They're both in the database.
That's right.
Supplementary.
Order. 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 Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Well, doesn't that exactly prove the point that the problem that we've got is a regulatory regime that allows foreign trusts to be used for illegitimate purposes and that we need greater transparency and disclosure?
Mr. Speaker.
Order. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
No, it shows his lefty mates went and hacked into somebody's website, put it up there, didn't actually filter it out, didn't have the decency to protect everyday New Zealanders who might be implicated, and all of a sudden when one of their mates are there, they don't like it. Well, actually, the truth is we do protect New Zealanders, and if the member had some decency about him, he wouldn't have got on the news on Saturday night and said I was responsible for the Cook Islands when he patently knows it's not true.
Order.
Supplementary.
There is just too much interjection occurring. Supplementary question, James Shaw.
Can he tell the House why he chose to attack charities and my colleague Mojo Mathers rather than to answer legitimate questions about the lack of disclosure in New Zealand's foreign trust regulation?
Order.
Mr. Speaker.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, sadly the problem with question time is this is the way it works. The member asks the question, and if it's to the Prime Minister, I have to answer it. Yesterday, the member asked me a question about foreign trust with all sorts of implications they were bad, lots of questions about the database, but apparently if you're on it, you're bad. And yet my simple point is this to New Zealanders. Next time you hear about this database, next time you hear about the Panama Papers, next time you see James Shaw making these ridiculous assertions, just ask what's behind it, because I'm absolutely sure the member's right. Greenpeace are unwittingly named as a beneficiary, but nevertheless, they're in the database and they are a beneficiary of the Exodus Trust.
Order. Order.
Supplementary question.
The Pacific member in the front row was the one I received the most complaints by my emails yesterday. I'll accept some interjection, but when it's continuous, I'm going to have to deal with it. Supplementary question, James
Thank
Shaw.
you, Mr. Speaker. Given that answer, why will he not apologise to Greenpeace International, Amnesty and Mojo Mathers for misrepresenting them in the House yesterday?
Mr. Speaker,
The Right Honourable
Mr.
Prime
Speaker,
Minister.
I haven't misrepresented Greenpeace. They're in the database as a beneficiary of the Exodus Trust. I don't like the fact they're there, but they are there. So in what way have I misrepresented them? I think the member should do this. I think he should get on his feet and he should say, John, on Saturday night, I went on TV.
Order. Prime Minister will resume his seat. Order. The Prime Minister will leave the chamber. When I stand to my feet, it happened yesterday, I gave him fair warning. When I stand to my feet and call for order, he is to be treated no differently to any other member in this House. The Prime Minister will leave the chamber. Question number 4,